1 year after the blade's creation, Lavra graduated from the academy with the highest possible honors. Her thesis was titled Resilience as Strategy: How Human Scarcity Thinking Outperforms Abundance in Long-Term Conflict Resolution. It became required reading at military academies across the galaxy. She received job offers from the Drachni Empire, the Valorian Collective, and the United Human Colonies. After much thought, she accepted the position as Junior Strategic Advisor to the Coalition Council. She would work directly with the leaders of the galactic community. The Bone Blade became famous throughout the galaxy. It was not famous as the most powerful weapon ever created. It was famous as the most meaningful one. Students from dozens of worlds requested to study its design. Some tried to create similar works. None succeeded in creating the same impact. They did not carry the same weight of human history. They did not mean the same thing. Laura received a message from her mother. Dr. Patricia Mitchell was proud. But she had something else to say. She had been researching her own family history. She discovered something remarkable. Laura's great-grandmother's sister had served in the space program. That sister had worked alongside Joseph Hayes before his fateful mission. The connection was not planned. It was coincidence. But it was also perfect. Laura's family had always been connected to human survival. Her great-grandmother had sharpened tools to save lives. Her great-grandmother's sister had been part of the program that sent Joseph into space. And now Lavra was honoring both of them by honoring Joseph's legacy. In her new role, Lavra worked with species that had never thought about human strength in any serious way. She showed them how humans built civilizations from nothing. She showed them how humans refused to surrender even when defeated. She showed them how humans found meaning in the smallest acts of creativity. She traveled to newly contacted alien species. She served as humanity's representative. She taught them about human thinking and human values. She showed them that being the weakest did not mean being defeated. Years passed. Lavra became known across the galaxy as the bridge between humans and other species. She was respected by leaders and warriors and philosophers. But she never forgot where she came from. She visited Kepler Station. She stood in the museum and looked at Joseph's blade beside his journals. She touched the glass case. She thought of Joseph refusing to give up on a hostile world. She thought of her great-grandmother sharpening tools in a broken hospital. She thought of all the humans across history who would not break. The galaxy was full of species with greater strength and greater power and greater technology. But it had taken humanity to teach them something they had never understood. It had taken humans to show them that real strength was not about being the best. It was about being the most stubborn. It was about refusing to break. Lavra received a new assignment. She would travel to the edge of known space and meet species that no human had ever encountered. She would teach them about humanity. She would show them that humans belonged in the galaxy as equals. As she boarded her transport ship, she thought about the 2 weeks she had spent in a small workshop, shaping bone into something beautiful. She had not known then that this simple task would change everything. She had not known that refusing to follow the expected path would lead her here. But her great-grandmother had known. Her great-grandmother had always known. Humans did not break. Humans sharpened what they had. Humans took the worst thing and turned it into the next best thing. That was the real strength of humanity. That was what the Bone Blade had proved to the entire galaxy. And that was what Lavra would teach for the rest of her life. The news reached Earth on a cold morning in the Northern Hemisphere. Captain Victoria Hughes was running on the orbital station when the alarm sounded. She stopped her exercise machine and checked the communication feed. The headline was clear and direct. The Galactic Council had voted. Every warship in the galaxy would go dark. The decision had taken 300 years to make. 300 years of wars, negotiations, and failed peace treaties. Now, finally, the oldest civilizations had reached an agreement that seemed impossible just decades before. The Vareth Collective, the Threx Empire, the Stelian Federation, and 17 other major factions had all voted the same way. Peace would come through mutual disarmament. Every military vessel would power down. Every defense station would go dormant. Every armed installation would go silent. Hughes sat on the bench and read through the full document. The logic was simple but strong. A minor dispute between two smaller colonies had nearly started a galactic war. The Council decided that the risk was too great. If all sides disarmed at the same time, no single faction could gain advantage. With nobody holding weapons, nobody could start a war. Peace would come from shared vulnerability. The Galactic Council representative from Earth, David Foster, had voted yes along with everyone else. Humanity had only joined the Council 50 years ago. Earth was the youngest major power in the galaxy. The older civilizations still watched humans with careful eyes. They saw humans as ambitious and unpredictable. They saw emotions driving human decisions when logic should govern. Voting for disarmament was one way to show that Earth could be trusted. Hughes finished reading and headed to her office. She needed to check the orders that would come from Earth Command. The Titan was the most advanced military ship that humanity had ever built. Her weapon systems were better than anything the older civilizations had created. Her power core could run at full capacity for years without refueling. Her armor had been tested against every known weapon and had never failed. The Titan represented humanity's greatest achievement in military engineering. The orders came through within the hour. All Earth's military vessels would comply with the accord. Every warship would power down. Every defense station would go dark. The Titan would follow the same rules as everyone else. Hughes read the transmission twice to make sure she understood. Then she called her weapons officer, Victoria Harrison, to her office. Harrison was the best officer Hughes had ever served with. She was fast, accurate, and smart. She never wasted time with unnecessary words. Harrison arrived and sat down without ceremony. Hughes handed her the communication pad containing the official order. Harrison read it in silence. Her jaw tightened slightly, but she showed no other emotion. "The entire fleet goes dormant," Harrison said. It was not a question. "That is what the order says," Hughes replied. "And the Titan?" Hughes did not answer immediately. She stood and walked to the window of her office. Below, the planet Earth turned slowly in space. The blue oceans caught the light from the sun. The white clouds drifted across continents and seas. It was beautiful and fragile. "The Titan follows the same order as everyone else," Hughes finally said. Harrison nodded slowly. She understood what Hughes was not saying. She understood the risks. If the accord held, if all factions truly disarmed, then the Titan would be safe. But if someone broke the agreement, if someone secretly kept weapons while everyone else went dark, then the Titan would be defenseless like all the other ships. Before Harrison could speak, another communication came through. This one was marked with the highest security classification. It came directly from Admiral Catherine Ross, the commander of all Earth's military forces. The message was encrypted and required Hughes's personal authorization code to open. Hughes used her code. The message appeared on her screen. The Admiral's voice came through as a recording. Her words were direct and careful. She understood the risk she was taking. She understood that what she was about to order could change everything. But she also understood that Earth could not trust the older civilizations completely. Humanity had been part of the galactic community for only 50 years. Trust had to be earned slowly. The order was simple. The Titan would remain at full operational capacity. All weapon systems would stay hot. The power core would run at maximum readiness. The ship would stay hidden in the dark spaces between stars, invisible and waiting. If the Accord held, the Titan would never need to fire a shot. But if someone broke the agreement, if someone attacked Earth's colonies, the Titan would be ready to strike back. Hughes looked at Harrison. Harrison's expression did not change, but her fingers gripped the armrest of her chair hard enough to turn her knuckles white. "We go dormant publicly," Hughes said. "We shut down every ship in the fleet. Every station goes dark. Every weapon goes offline. But the Titan stays ready. If we are discovered," Harrison said, "Earth loses everything. The Council will see us as liars and cheaters. They will expel us from the community. They might even attack us." "I know," Hughes replied. "And if the Accord holds? If no one breaks the agreement?" Hughes stood at the window again. She thought about the colonies scattered across 12 star systems. Each one held families, children, and people building new lives away from Earth. They were vulnerable. If something went wrong, if the Accord collapsed, those colonies would have no protection. "Then the Titan serves as Earth's insurance policy," Hughes said. "We keep it ready, but we pray we never have to use it." Hughes turned to face Harrison. "Are you with me on this, Victoria?" Harrison stood up from her chair. She was a soldier first and a person second. She understood duty and honor. She understood that sometimes the right thing and the safe thing were not the same. She understood that Hughes was making a choice that could destroy her career and damage Earth's reputation if it went wrong. "I am with you, Captain," Harrison said. "When do we go dark?" 48 hours, Hughes replied. "The entire fleet powers down in 48 hours. We will shut down the Titan's public systems. We will power down the main reactor. But we will keep the secondary systems running. We will keep the weapons charged. We will keep the power core hot on minimum output. We will hide in the darkness and watch." Hughes made one more decision then. She would not tell the rest of the crew about the order to keep the Titan ready. She would tell only Harrison. Only the two of them would carry this secret. Everyone else would believe they were following the Accord completely. The next morning, orders went out to all the fleet commanders. Earth would comply with the Galactic Accord. Every warship would power down. Every system would go dormant. Peace had arrived. The galaxy had finally chosen to trust itself. What the galaxy did not know was that one ship would stay awake. One vessel would keep her weapons hot and her engines ready. The ham-ass Titan would watch and wait in the darkness between the stars. Captain Victoria Hughes hoped it would never matter. She hoped the Accord would hold. She hoped that the galaxy had finally found its way to lasting peace. But she also knew that hope and preparation were two different things. And so the Titan remained ready, waiting for the moment when the entire galactic community would discover that Earth had lied. That moment was coming faster than anyone expected. The distress call came at 0347 hours. Captain Hughes was sleeping when the alarm pulled her from rest. She was on her feet and moving toward the bridge before her eyes fully opened. The ship's wake-up protocols activated all around her. Lights came on. Systems powered up. The Titan was coming alive. Hughes reached the bridge and took her command seat. The senior officer on watch, Commander James Park, already had the situation displayed on the main screen. A colony world, designated Kepler 442b, was sending emergency signals. The transmissions were fragmented and breaking up, but the message was clear. The world was under attack. "Details," Hughes demanded. Park's hands moved across the tactical display. "The Varith Collective has struck with a full strike force. We are reading 12 capital-class vessels and approximately 40 smaller craft. The colony has no military presence, Captain. The people there are defenseless. They are requesting emergency assistance from any available Earth forces." Hughes felt the weight of the decision pressed down on her. The Accord was less than 48 hours old. Earth's fleet had powered down. Every warship was dormant. The people of Kepler-442b had no protection under the agreement. The Accord was supposed to keep everyone safe through mutual disarmament. Instead, the Vareth had broken the peace before it had even begun. "Open a secure line to Earth Command," Hughes said. "Priority Alpha." The communication took 3 minutes to establish. The signal had to travel across light years through the quantum relay network. When Admiral Ross's face appeared on the screen, the Admiral was already awake. Someone had already informed her of the attack. "I see it," Ross said before Hughes could speak. "The Vareth have made their move. They assumed our fleet was dormant and decided to grab the colony. The people down there are dying," Hughes said. The statement was simple and hard. She was looking at the sensor data. The bombardment of the colony had already killed thousands. The Vareth were not trying to capture the world. They were trying to destroy it. "I know," Ross replied. "Hughes, you have one command. Go to Kepler-442b. Use everything you have. Stop the Vareth attack. Protect those colonies." Hughes hesitated for only 1 second. "If I engage, the Accord collapses. The whole galaxy will know Earth lied." "The Accord was already dead when the Vareth fired the first shot," Ross said. "Those people are counting on us. Go." The connection cut out. Hughes turned to Park. "Power up all primary systems. Bring the main reactor online. I want full power in every weapon system. Set course for Kepler-442b at maximum velocity." The bridge exploded into activity. The Titan systems, which had been running at minimal levels since the Accord began, roared to life. The ship's voice announced the power-up sequence. Light shifted from emergency status to full operational brightness. The weapon systems activated one by one. The main reactor's output doubled, then tripled, then reached full capacity. Park's hands flew across the controls. "Captain, we are jumping to hyperspace in 30 seconds. ETA to Kepler-442b is 4 hours at maximum speed." The Titan's engines engaged. Reality twisted around the vessel. Space bent inward. The ship shot forward toward the distant colony, leaving behind a trail of displaced energy in her wake. On the bridge, every officer watched the screens showing the colony under attack. They could see the Vareth ships striking at the surface. They could see explosions spreading across the cities. They could see thermal signatures, representing thousands of dying people down below. Hughes opened the ship-wide communication system. Her voice rang through every corridor of the Titan. "All hands, this is the captain. The colony at Kepler-442b is under attack. We are going to help them. We are going to stop the Vareth. We are going to save those people. Every officer, every crew member, every soldier on this ship is about to be tested. I need you to be the best version of yourselves. I need you to believe that we can win this. Stand ready." The words were simple, but they carried weight. The crew understood what was happening. The Accord was over. Humanity had kept a weapon when everyone else had put theirs away. Now that weapon would be used. The journey through hyperspace took exactly 4 hours. When the Titan emerged back into normal space, the star system at Kepler-442b was spread out before them. The colony world rotated below them, its atmosphere thick with smoke from the bombardment. The Vareth fleet was still in position, still striking at targets on the surface. The Vareth did not see the Titan at first. She had emerged on the far side of the system, hidden from their direct sensors by the stellar radiation of the star itself. The Park's sensor team immediately locked onto every Vareth vessel. The targeting computer calculated firing solutions for all of them simultaneously. All weapons locked. Victoria Harrison reported from her position. She sounded calm, but Hughes could see the tension in her shoulders. awaiting firing orders. Hughes opened the communication channel to the Vareth strike force. She wanted them to know. She wanted them to understand that Earth was not dormant. She wanted them to feel fear. Vareth Collective Strike Force. This is Captain Victoria Hughes of the HMAS Titan. You are firing on human civilians in direct violation of the Galactic Accord. You will cease fire immediately and withdraw from this system, or I will destroy every ship in your fleet. There was a moment of silence. Then a Vareth commander's voice came back, and it was filled with contempt and amusement. Human vessel, the Accord includes Earth's compliance. Your defenses are dormant. This is a matter between the Vareth and a colonial population. Withdraw or be destroyed. Hughes leaned forward in her command chair. Victoria, fire all weapons. The Titan transformed into a weapon of pure violence. Her main cannons lit up space with energy bolts thick and bright as spears. Her missile batteries launched patterns of destruction into the Vareth formation. Her beam weapons sliced through armor like blades cutting through paper. The Vareth had expected to find a dormant colony. Instead, they found a warship built by humans specifically designed to kill ships like theirs. The first Vareth capital ship exploded before its shields could even engage. The second one tried to run, but the Titan's weapons were faster. The vessel's hull breached. Internal explosions tore it apart from the inside. The third capital ship managed to fire back, but the Titan's armor absorbed the hits without damage. Hughes watched the battle unfold on her tactical display. The Vareth had expected to win easily. They had prepared for a simple bombardment of a defenseless world. They had not prepared for this. They had not prepared for a warship that could strike at them faster than they could respond. One by one, the Vareth vessels fell. Some were destroyed. Some were crippled. A few managed to withdraw and jump to hyperspace, but not before the Titan recorded their locations and projected their escape vectors. The smaller Vareth ships were scattered and destroyed. Their crews dumped into the cold darkness of space, and within 28 minutes the battle was over. The Vareth strike force had been annihilated. The bombardment of the colony stopped. The cities below stopped burning. Hughes ordered the Titan to hold position above the colony. She opened a new communication channel, but this time she sent it not just to the Vareth Collective, but to every faction in the Galactic Council. This is Captain Victoria Hughes of the HMS Titan. I am reporting that the Vareth Collective has violated the Galactic Accord by attacking the human colony at Kepler 442b, Earth's. Warship was in a position to respond to this attack. We have stopped the bombardment and eliminated the Vareth strike force. This is the truth. Earth maintained a warship at full operational capacity in direct violation of the Accord. We did this because we did not trust the older civilizations to keep the peace. We have proven that our distrust was justified. The Accord is dead. The age of peace has ended. What comes next is the choice of the Galactic Council. She cut the transmission and turned to Harrison. The weapons officer was looking at her with an expression of calm certainty. We just changed everything, Harrison said quietly. Yes, Hughes replied. Now we wait to see how the galaxy responds. Below them, the people of Kepler 442b were alive. The colony had been saved, but the cost would be high. The revelation that Earth had lied, the destruction of the Accord, the Vareth's betrayal, all of it would reshape the political landscape of the galaxy forever. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from every major faction had arrived within hours of Hughes's broadcast. The level of anger and confusion was unprecedented. Some delegations demanded that Earth be expelled immediately. Others wanted to know why the Accord had failed so completely. The neutral factions were calculating how this incident would shift the balance of power throughout the known galaxy. Ambassador David Foster stood alone in the preparation chamber, beneath the main council hall. He had been summoned to defend Earth's actions. He had been told that there was no precedent for what had happened. No faction had ever so brazenly violated a unanimous council agreement. Earth's actions could destroy the entire foundation of galactic cooperation. Foster was an older man, his face lined with experience. He had spent 30 years in diplomatic service. He had helped negotiate Earth's entry into the Galactic Council. He had built relationships with representatives from dozens of species. He had learned to speak in ways that different aliens could understand. But he had never faced a situation this serious. An aide approached him. "Ambassador, the Council will see you now." Foster stood and straightened his formal attire. He walked through the corridors of the council chamber, heading toward the great hall where all representatives had assembled. As he entered, the noise stopped. Hundreds of alien representatives turned to look at him. Their expressions ranged from angry to contemptuous to coldly analytical. The Olvian representative, an ancient being of immense wisdom and power, called the session to order. The Olvians had served as neutral arbiters for 3,000 years. Their voice carried weight across the galaxy. "Ambassador Foster, you represent the human government of Earth. This council demands an explanation for the gross violation of the Galactic Accord. You voted yes for mutual disarmament. Yet your people kept a military vessel in active status. This is deception. This is betrayal. What defense do you offer?" Foster took a breath and began to speak. His words were simple and direct. He did not try to hide the truth or soften the reality of what Earth had done. He simply explained it clearly. "Honored representatives, I will not insult your intelligence by denying the facts. Earth violated the Accord. We kept the HMS Titan at full operational capacity, while telling the Council that all our military forces were dormant. This was deceptive. This was against the agreement that we all voted for. I take responsibility for this decision on behalf of the human government." A Vareth representative rose from his position. "Then you admit to the violation. You violated the peace that all of us worked toward." "I admit to the violation," Foster replied calmly. "I do not apologize for it. I explain it." "An explanation does not repair the broken accord," the Vareth said. Foster looked directly at the Vareth representative. "Your people broke the accord by attacking Kepler 442b. You attacked human, civilians while claiming to support peace. You violated the agreement before Earth's deception was even revealed." "Yes, we lied. But your people actually committed the act of war that the Accord was designed to prevent." The Vareth representative sat down, his expression turning darker. Foster continued. "We joined this council 50 years ago. We were the newcomers. We were the young species that no one fully trusted. We had reason to be cautious. Your factions have been in this community for thousands of years. You have powerful military traditions. You have relationships that were old when Earth was still a medieval planet. We could not be certain that the Accord would hold. So we made a choice to keep one warship ready. Not as aggression, but as survival." A Stelian representative with multiple appendages opened a communication link. The translator rendered the sounds into human speech. "The violation is still a violation. Trust is the foundation of the Council. Trust is broken. Trust must be built carefully," Foster said. "Earth has been part of this Council for 50 years. In that time, we have followed every rule. We have contributed to every discussion. We have sent our ships to help when other colonies were attacked by pirates. We have tried to be good members of this community. We kept one warship ready, not because we wanted to rule the galaxy, but because we wanted to protect ourselves and our people." The Threx military commander stood. The Threx were a warrior species that respected strength and honor. "I have a question for Ambassador Foster. When the Vareth attacked the colony, Did the human warship protect the civilians? It did, Foster answered. The Titan destroyed the Vareth strike force and stopped the bombardment. Thousands of human lives were saved because that warship was present and ready. The Threx commander sat down. Then the deception produced a just result. The deception saved lives. Foster seized on this point. Honored Commander, yes. The warship that violated the Accord was in a position to stop the violation of the Accord. The weapon that Earth kept secret became the tool that protected those who needed protection. The debate continued for hours. Some factions argued that Earth should be expelled. Others pointed out that the Vareth had actually committed an act of war, which was worse than keeping a ship in readiness. The smaller factions, whose colonies depended on Council protection, argued that they were actually grateful that Earth had kept a warship ready. Without it, the Kepler 442b colony would have been destroyed completely. Finally, the Olvian representative called for an official proposal. The neutral faction suggested a compromise. Earth would face a period of probation. The Titan would come under limited council oversight. In exchange, the Vareth Collective would face sanctions for their attack on the colony. The Accord would be revised to allow all factions to maintain hidden defense forces, but only if they disclosed their readiness levels to the Council. A vote was called. All factions would decide whether to accept this proposal. If even one faction voted no, the proposal would fail and stronger punishment for Earth would be considered. The votes came in one by one. The Threx voted yes. The neutral factions voted yes. The smaller colonies that had been protected by the Titan voted yes. One by one, the votes accumulated. By the end, only the Vareth voted no. All other factions accepted the compromise. The Olvian representative announced the decision. Earth is accepted into continued membership in the Galactic Council. The HMA's Titan will be brought under limited council oversight. But the human warship will also serve the Council's purposes when needed. The Accord is revised as proposed. Foster felt the weight lift from his shoulders. Earth would survive. Humanity would continue as part of the galactic community. The Titan would not be destroyed. But there was a cost. Earth's secret weapon was now open knowledge. Every faction knew that humans had lied. The foundation of trust had been damaged, but not destroyed. As Foster walked from the council chamber, he thought about Captain Hughes and the crew of the Titan. They had been willing to destroy Earth's reputation to save a colony. They had been willing to risk everything for the right reason. That kind of courage and that kind of willingness to sacrifice would need to be the foundation of Earth's relationship with the galaxy from this point forward. The Accord was dead. The age of forced peace had ended. But something new was beginning. The question was whether that new thing would be peace or conflict. The answer would depend on the choices that Earth made in the days and weeks to come. The Titan did not return to Earth. Instead, the warship remained in deep space, moving between the colonies and trade routes of the Galactic Council. Captain Victoria Hughes had been given a new assignment. The Titan would become the Council's enforcement vessel. When disputes threatened to turn violent, the Titan would intervene. When pirates attacked trade routes, the Titan would respond. The warship that had been Earth's hidden shame was now the Phonebay, Galaxy's open hand of justice. Victoria. Harrison stood in the captain's office aboard the Titan. Hughes was reviewing the personnel files of the new crew members who had been assigned to the ship. With the expanded role came an expanded crew. The Titan would now carry specialists from a dozen different alien species. This will be a challenge, Hughes said, looking at the profiles. There was a Stellian strategic officer, a Threx combat coordinator, an Olvian historian, and representatives from 10 other species. Each one had been chosen because they brought something valuable to the mission. They will listen to you, Harrison said. The entire galaxy watched what you did at Kepler 442b. They know you make the right decisions. Hughes was not sure about that. She knew that she had made a difficult decision, and it had turned out well. But she also knew that luck had played a part in the outcome. If the Vareth had been more careful, if they had positioned their fleet better, the Titan might have lost the engagement. And if the Titan had lost, then Earth's deception would have resulted in the death of thousands of people and the destruction of the Accord. The new crew members began arriving at the Titan one by one. The integration process was not smooth. Different species had different ways of organizing themselves. The Threx warrior wanted to be in charge of all combat operations. The Stelian wanted to plan every move with mathematical precision. The Olvian wanted to consider the historical precedents for every decision. Hughes had to find a way to bring them all together. She did this by being clear about the mission. The Titan's job was not to dominate the galaxy. It was not to push humanity's interests over other species. The Titan's job was to protect the innocent and enforce the Council's decisions. Every crew member, human and alien, had to understand that this was the core principle. Within weeks, the crew had their first real test. A pirate faction had attacked the Stelian merchant vessel and stolen cargo worth millions. The Council sent the Titan to track them down and recover the cargo. Hughes worked with the Stelian officer, Commander Zaris, to plan the operation. Zaris was a being of multiple appendages and a highly organized mind. Zaris created models of how the pirates would likely move through space, analyzing jump points and refueling stations. The Threx combat coordinator, named Goreth, wanted to attack the pirate base directly. He wanted to destroy it and kill the pirates. But Hughes rejected this plan. The mission was to recover the cargo and arrest the pirates. There would be no killing if it could be prevented. The operation took 2 weeks. The Titan tracked the pirate vessel through several star systems. When they finally cornered the pirates in a remote station, Hughes gave her orders. The Titan would surround the station. A boarding team would be sent to apprehend the pirates and recover the cargo. If the pirates resisted, force would be used. But the goal was capture, not death. The boarding team succeeded. The pirates surrendered rather than fight the combined forces of humans, Threx, Stelians, and Ovians. The cargo was recovered. The pirates were delivered to the Council for trial. When the Titan returned to the Council station, the representatives greeted Hughes with something that looked like respect. The Threx commander commented that humans had a strange way of enforcing justice. They used minimal force, but somehow managed to achieve maximum results. The Stelian representative noted that the operation had followed mathematical principles of efficiency. The Olvian historian commented that this kind of strategic thinking had appeared in records from 3,000 years ago. But human commanders had abandoned the approach. Hughes accepted the compliments without allowing them to go to her head. She understood that she and her crew were still being tested. The galaxy was watching to see if Earth could be trusted. One successful operation was not enough. The Titan would need to prove itself again and again. Admiral Catherine Ross visited the Titan in person 3 months after the new crew integration. The Admiral came alone, without escort, which itself was a sign of trust. Ross wanted to see how the mixed species crew was performing. Hughes gave the Admiral a full tour of the ship. She showed him the new combat center where Goreth coordinated with his Threx specialists. She showed him the strategic command room where Zaris created the plans that had proven so effective. She showed him the archive where the Olvian historian maintained records of every mission and every decision. "You have created something remarkable," Ross said, looking out from the observation deck. "A ship crewed by humans and aliens, working as one unit." "We are still learning how to work together," Hughes replied. "But it is working. When we focus on the mission, the differences disappear." Ross nodded slowly. The Council wants you to consider an even larger role. There are younger species applying for membership in the Council. They are afraid of the older factions. They want to know that there is a neutral force that can protect them. Earth, Hughes said quietly. Not just Earth, but humanity, Ross corrected. Humanity has proven something important to the galaxy. You kept a weapon secret, but you used it for protection, not domination. You were deceptive, but for the right reasons. You worked with aliens as equals. The younger species see hope in that. Hughes considered what the Admiral was saying. This was the moment where humanity could shape its future role in the galaxy. Would Earth become a power broker? Would humanity become a species that other factions had to deal with carefully? Would humans be seen as dangerous or as trustworthy? She turned to Ross. If we take on this larger role, we cannot do it for power or advantage. We cannot do it to make Earth wealthy or dominant. We can only do it if we are committed to being the protectors of the weak and the enforcers of justice. Ross smiled slightly. That is exactly what I told the Council you would say. That is why the Council approved your expanded role before you even answered. They believe you mean it. After Ross left the Titan, Hugh stood alone on the observation deck. She thought about the crew working below her. She thought about the mission ahead. She thought about the responsibility that Earth was being given. The Titan had started as a secret weapon. It had become a symbol of human deception. Now it was becoming a symbol of something else, a tool for justice that could be trusted by species across the entire galaxy. That was a role that Hughes could accept. That was a mission worth dedicating her life to. And that was the beginning of humanity's true place in the galactic community.